In this video, we're going to work on writing an equation of ellipse given a center, a vertex, and a focus. Now pay close attention how I emphasize on a single vertex and a single focus. So I didn't use the word vertices and foci because we are only working with a single vertex and a single focus. Now, if you pay close attention, the only thing that repeats within these three coordinate points is the 10. So from there we can safely say that my H is 10 because that's the only thing that repeats. Now the H that repeats in center, vertex, and focus tie into foci and vertices. The only standard form that we should use where the H repeats is the form where the a squared is underneath the y minus k. So I'm going to make a note that we're going to use this standard form. Alright, now with this type of an example, we need to find the value of k, which we don't have to do any kind of work, because if I were to look at my center, which is right here, so I could safely say k is -5. Now we just need to do the work in order to find the values of b squared and a squared. So what we're going to do first is we're going to use the information that was given for the center and the vertex. So what I'm going to do here is that in order to use the center and the vertex, we're going to find the distance between them 2 points. Between those 2 points given here. So we're not going to worry about the tens. I'm actually going to look at the difference between -5 and -13. So what I'm going to do with these two numbers, I'm going to write it up. -13 minus -5. So all I'm doing is find the difference between these two numbers, but they're in absolute value because when we're finding distance, it's a positive number. -13 minus -5, well, that's basically -8, but we're doing the absolute value, which is 8. Now the question is, does it matter if we start off with -13? And my answer would be no. It would be the same if we start off with -5 minus -13. So I just originally kept the numbers the same. See, it's -5, -5, and -13. Same here, -5, -13. So we're going to do -5 minus -13. That was going to be a positive 8. And the absolute value of positive 8 is the same thing, 8, 8. So it doesn't matter which number you start off with, it's just whatever you have inside, you must do the absolute value. So the absolute value of the distance between center and vertex is 8. So from there, once we find the distance, we can safely say that our a value is 8. Now, why we say that a is 8? Well, here's why. I'm going to erase to make more room. Now, according to the formulas, all the h stays the same. The only thing that's different was these values here. Now I'm going to write the formula for vertices. So the formula for vertices is h, comma, k, plus and minus a. And let's focus on this. So the reason that I said that the 8 goes with the a is because you see how the vertices change to -13, and all the other points, focus, center, all of them has 10s. So that means h just stay the same. Here, this is k plus a. So that means that we had -5 with the a value, which is 8. So, since this was different, all the work I did finding the absolute value of the distance between these 2 points, the distance I found, that only ties into the value for A. So that's why, according to the formula here, the value that I found was for the A value. Now, to test it out, was it correct? Sure, we could do it. So H, comma, K plus A, and then H, comma, K minus A. So here, I'm going to plug in, for the H value, 10, my K value, -5, plus my A value, which is 8. And here, 10, comma, -5 minus my A value, which is 8. So from here, this is going to be 10, -5 plus 8, that's 3. Not the same, but let's check if this is the same. 10, comma, -5 minus 8, that would be -13. So this one matched with that one. So that one's good. So it is safe to say that our A value is 8. Alright, next I'm going to erase to make more room and then focus on getting our B value. Now this is where the focus ties in. Now the form for foci is H, comma, K plus and minus C. So we already see that -5 is K. So therefore, my C value is this. So C equals to the square root of 55. You don't have to worry about the sign of it, even though this is minus. You see how it has K plus minus C? That means that you are going to have 2 points. K plus C, and then K minus C. So in this example, they were using the K minus C. That's why we have -5 minus square root of 55. But we aren't going to worry about the square root of 55 for C. So how does that help us? So in the previous section, the formulas we had was C squared equal to A squared minus B squared. So now all we're going to do is just plug in the value for C and plug in the value for A in order to get B squared. So I'm going to put the square root of 55. I'll plug in the value of A, which is 8, with the square, minus B squared. So I'm going to do the square of square root of 55, which will become 55, equal 8 squared will be 64, minus B squared. So from there, I'm going to cancel out with the 64 to get my minus B squared by itself. So minus 64, minus 64, 55 minus 64, that's going to become -9, equal to -B squared. So up here I'm going to write it, -9 equal to -B squared divided by -1, because I wanted a positive B squared. So B squared equals to, oops, don't want to mix it up, 9 equal to B squared, which I would just flip it around, so B squared equals to 9. So all I have to do is just plug 9 into that B squared, but since in this form I needed A squared, since A is equal to 8, A squared is 64. So we got our H, we got our K, we got our A squared, we got our B squared, which I'm going to underline here, 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 and here. All I'm going to do is just plug it in to this standard form. So it's going to be x minus my h is 10, so I'm good with the minus 10 with the square, over my b square is 9 plus y. Now since my k value is negative and it's y minus k, then it's going to change to y plus 5 parenthesis with the square over my a squared, which is 64, equal to 1. So that's our standard form. Therefore, our final answer the square of x minus 10 over 9 plus the square of y plus 5 over 64 equals to 1.